I want to move in with my BF of 1 year, but I don't know if it's financially smart. My boyfriend, a man in his mid-30s, and I, a woman in my early 30s, are preparing for a significant next step in our relationship, moving in together at the start of the new year. It feels monumental, not just because we are both excited about sharing a space, but also because it's a deliberate and carefully thought out decision. We've talked about it in detail, what it means, what we hope for, and what we fear, and we've decided to treat this year of cohabitation as a trial run before marriage. It's not a casual experiment, it's a step toward solidifying a lifelong commitment. Both of us are clear on our intentions, and we're aligned in how we see the trajectory of our relationship. At the moment, our living arrangements are separate and modest. I reside in a one-bedroom apartment that feels cozy and personal, a space that I've poured time and energy into making my own. It's not extravagant, but it's my sanctuary, a haven where I feel safe and comfortable. My boyfriend, on the other hand, occupies a studio apartment, which, while charming in its own right, doesn't quite suit his personality or reflect the man I know. It's functional but not warm, practical but lacking the small touches that make a house feel like a home. The plan is to leave these separate dwellings behind and find a new place together, a place that isn't his or mine, but ours. A space where we can weave our lives together, create new routines, and navigate the uncharted waters of sharing a home for the first time. I can already picture the morning coffees, the late night talks, and the quiet moments spent in the comfort of each other's company. But as exciting as it is, it's not without its complexities. Financially, our situations are vastly different, though we're both doing well enough to manage independently. I earn $100,000 annually, a figure I'm proud of because it represents years of hard work, planning, and sacrifice. It's not just a number, it's security, the ability to save for emergencies, plan for retirement, and indulge in occasional luxuries without stress. My boyfriend, by contrast, earns $50,000 a year, which, while decent, doesn't provide the same level of financial stability. There's a disparity there that neither of us can ignore, but it's not something that defines our relationship. I can imagine how these figures might sound too rounded, too conveniently symmetrical, as if they were pulled out of a movie script or a hypothetical scenario. But they're real, and they matter because they shape how we approach this transition. Money isn't everything, but it's a practical concern when you're merging lives, negotiating rent, and building a future together. What makes our situation unique, however, is that we both have safety nets. It's a privilege we acknowledge and don't take lightly. Should the unexpected happen, be it a job loss, an illness, or some unforeseen expense, we have families who are willing and able to support us. It's not something we want to rely on, but it's comforting to know that the option exists. This shared understanding of having a cushion to fall back on eases some of the anxiety that comes with making such a big life decision. As we discuss this new chapter, I find myself grappling with a mix of emotions. There's excitement, of course, the thrill of envisioning a shared life, a shared home. But there's also apprehension. Moving in together is more than just a logistical shift, it's a merging of habits, values, and lifestyles. It's a commitment to compromise, to adapt, and to grow together. And while we're both optimistic, I can't help but wonder, are we truly ready for all that this entails? Will the reality match the vision? And most importantly, can we navigate the inevitable challenges without losing sight of the love and respect that brought us here in the first place? Here's where my concern begins to take root, threading through the excitement and optimism like a quiet, persistent hum of doubt. As we prepare for this move and talk about merging our lives, I've been peeling back the layers of my boyfriend's financial situation. The picture that's emerging is more complicated than I anticipated, a stark contrast to the man I know so well in every other way. For starters, despite living in a luxury apartment downtown, a building that boasts gleaming amenities, a concierge, and an air of exclusivity, he can't actually afford it. On the surface, it might seem like a reflection of success or stability, but the reality is far more nuanced. His parents signed the lease, making it possible for him to secure the apartment in the first place. And the difference between his monthly rent and what he can truly afford comes from mutual funds that were set up for him as a child. These funds, as far as I know, are worth around $80,000, a significant amount, but not an endless resource. It's a safety net that has been slowly depleting, covering gaps that his income cannot bridge. It's not as though he's reckless or frivolous with his money, he's simply trying to maintain a lifestyle that exceeds his current financial means. I can't fault him for wanting to live comfortably, but I can't ignore the implications either. The realization that his financial stability is, in part, an illusion has been unsettling. It's not just the numbers or the logistics. It's the deeper question of what this means for our future. Can we truly build a stable life together if one of us is still navigating financial uncertainties? To his credit, he's been actively searching for a better job throughout the year. I've seen him polish his resume, send out applications, and sit through interviews with a mix of nerves and determination. But this, too, has its layers. Before this year, he wasn't focused on building a career. He was content in his current role, even though it doesn't inspire him, and even though it barely sustains him. It's only now, as we look toward a shared future, that he's begun to shift his mindset and aim for something more. Right now, he's in the interview process for what could be a fantastic opportunity. The position comes with great benefits: healthcare, retirement plans, and most notably, a 30% discount on rent in the very neighborhood where we plan to live. It's a perk that changes the math entirely, making the rent far more manageable for both of us. This discount is significant enough that, even though the pay for the new job is similar to what he earns now, it would effectively act as a raise, increasing his financial bandwidth. On paper, this sounds like a win, a step in the right direction. But it's hard not to wonder, is it enough? Will this new job be the beginning of a stable career path, or will it become another chapter of dissatisfaction and restlessness? He's been clear about how much he dislikes his current job, and I fear that this new one, despite its benefits, might also fall short of fulfilling him. If that happens, it's not just his personal happiness at stake, it's the foundation of our living situation. Without this job and its discount, the plan we're building starts to crumble. I find myself oscillating between pride and worry. Pride, because I've seen him step out of his comfort zone, trying to align his actions with our shared goals. And worry, because the stakes are higher now, and the potential fallout feels personal in a way it never did before. I know he's trying, but trying doesn't guarantee results. And as much as I want to trust that everything will fall into place, the practical side of me can't ignore the risks. This job could be a turning point for him, for us. But it could also be a reminder of how fragile financial stability can be when it rests on uncertain ground. As much as I want to dive into this new chapter with unwavering confidence, part of me hesitates, questioning whether we're truly ready or whether we're leaping too soon. As I reflect on our financial landscapes, the disparity becomes stark. He has no savings to speak of, no emergency fund tucked away for a rainy day, no nest egg for retirement, no cushion for the unexpected. Every dollar he earns is accounted for, and while he manages to keep afloat, the cracks in his financial foundation are impossible to ignore. His credit card debt, which hovers around $15,000, feels like an ever-present storm cloud, a reminder of how easily small oversights can snowball into larger burdens. Thankfully, he's free from student loans or car payments, but even so, the picture isn't reassuring. In contrast, my financial situation feels almost indulgently secure. My apartment, while not luxurious, is a sanctuary I can afford comfortably. I've built an emergency fund that gives me peace of mind, a small fortune of sorts that makes the uncertainties of life less daunting. My savings in retirement accounts grow steadily, thanks to careful planning and a solid income. Sure, I have debt, around $6,000 in credit card balances and $13,000 in student loans, but they feel manageable, something I can tackle with time and discipline. This contrast between us feels like a dividing line, one I never wanted to acknowledge but now can't ignore. It's not just about numbers, it's about what those numbers represent. To me, they mean security, stability, a future that feels predictable and safe. To him, they mean pressure, uncertainty, and a constant battle to stay ahead of the bills. And yet, we're here, trying to build a life together, trying to make it all work. Our plan, should he land this job, is to split the discounted rent evenly 50-50. On the surface, it seems fair and logical, a way to share the financial burden and keep things balanced. But beneath that logic lies a tangled web of questions I can't shake. Can he sustain his half of the rent, even with the discount? Will this job be the stability he needs, or will it turn into yet another stepping stone on an endless path of career dissatisfaction? And if it does, what happens to us, to our home, to our carefully laid plans? His career history doesn't offer much reassurance. Stability has never been his strong suit, and his current job is a source of constant frustration. He loads at every detail, every task, every day spent there feels like a drain on his energy and spirit. And while I can understand and empathize, I can't help but worry that this new job, even with its benefits, might not be the solution we're hoping for. The reality is harsh. Our ability to share a home, to create a life together, will depend on his ability to keep this job. That dependency feels precarious, like balancing on a tightrope with no safety net below. As much as I want to believe in him and us, I find myself plagued by what-ifs. What if he takes the job and hates it just as much as the last one? What if the stress becomes too much, and he decides to leave? What if the discount disappears, and we're left scrambling to cover the full rent? These questions haunt me, whispering doubts into moments that should be filled with hope. Still, there's a part of me that wants to silence those doubts, to tell myself that this is what love and partnership are about: taking risks, supporting each other, and believing in the best possible outcome. I've seen his potential, his drive, and his desire to do better, not just for himself but for us. And yet, the practical side of me, the side that has always valued stability and careful planning, struggles to reconcile with the uncertainty. I wonder if this plan, as fair and balanced as it seems on paper, might be asking too much of him or of me. Will the weight of these financial responsibilities strain our relationship, turning something that feels so right into something fraught with tension and resentment? Or will we rise to the occasion, stronger together, proving that love can overcome even the most daunting challenges? In the end, I know we'll have to make this leap together, trusting that we can navigate whatever comes our way. But as much as I want to believe in the best-case scenario, the fears linger, gnawing at the edges of my optimism. Because this isn't just about sharing a home, it's about sharing a future. And futures, I've learned, are built on more than love. They're built on trust, communication, and a foundation that feels solid enough to weather the storms. There's so much rhetoric out there about finding a rich man, a partner who can effortlessly provide the kind of life that feels safe, secure, and free from financial worry. It's a narrative that's impossible to escape, woven into movies, books, and well-meaning advice from friends and family. But that's not the life I've sought for myself, nor the kind of relationship I've ever wanted. Love, for me, has never been transactional. It's about connection, respect, shared values, and a partnership that feels balanced not just in dollars and cents, but in the things that truly matter. And yet, as I stand here at this crossroads, I find myself questioning whether our situation truly balances out. On the surface, it feels like it does. He has his strengths, and I have mine. Where he falters, I can support him, and where I stumble, he's always there to steady me. But is that enough? Are the scales of love and partnership truly tipping equally when one of us is late to the party when it comes to personal finance? It's not that I'm expecting perfection, far from it. I know that life is messy, and love is rarely simple. But I also know that financial stress has the power to erode even the strongest relationships. I've seen it happen to people I care about, watched how the weight of unpaid bills and unspoken resentments can chip away at the foundation of something beautiful. Am I setting us up for that? Am I setting myself up for that? The thought circles in my mind, refusing to let go. Is there a red flag I'm not seeing? A sign, flashing in bright neon, telling me to slow down, to rethink this leap before it's too late? Or am I overthinking, letting fear of the unknown overshadow the love and trust we've spent years building? I should have mentioned this at the very beginning, but it's not letting me go back now. This man, this complicated, wonderful man, has the best character and moral center of anyone I've ever met. He's the kind of partner people dream about, someone who listens without judgment, loves without condition, and stands by me in ways I didn't know I needed. When I'm with him, I feel seen, valued, cherished. He's the kind of man who notices the smallest details, who remembers the things I love, who makes me laugh when I want to cry. His kindness is boundless, his integrity unshakable, and his love for me feels as steady and certain as the rising sun. And yet, I worry. Not because I don't trust him or his intentions, but because I know that love alone can't guarantee a happily ever after. The practical side of me whispers that I could be screwing myself financially if this doesn't work out, that the risks I'm taking could leave me vulnerable in ways I've worked so hard to avoid. But then there's the other side of me, the side that believes in him, in us, in the possibility of building something extraordinary together. This side reminds me that no relationship is without risk, that every leap of faith carries the potential for both joy and heartbreak. It tells me that I chose this man for a reason, that I saw something in him worth fighting for, worth believing in, even when the path ahead feels uncertain. In the end, I know there's no perfect answer, no way to predict the future or guarantee a specific outcome. All I can do is trust my instincts, weigh the risks against the rewards, and step forward with as much clarity and courage as I can muster. Because that's what love is, isn't it? Not a promise of smooth sailing, but a commitment to weather the storms together. And as much as I fear what could go wrong, I can't ignore what feels so undeniably right. So here we are, standing on the edge of something new. Something that could be incredible or could break my heart or, most likely, something that will be a little bit of both. I don't know what's waiting on the other side of this decision, but I know one thing for certain, I'm willing to find out.